Oh look, another one of those Nintendo family computer games too good to grace our North American Nintendo Entertainment Systems through official channels. This is F1-Race, released in 1984 by Nintendo for their Famicom system, the Japanese iteration of what most folks know as the NES. And F1-Race is another common title that you'll find on those evil multicart things that had 200, 500 games and cost like $200 but only actually have like a couple games and stuff. In fact, that's where I'm playing this iteration of F1 from. Truly, this is a genuinely wonderful source of foreign titles. Now, the best way I can describe F1-Race is that it's sort of this Famicom semi-iteration of Namco's classic arcade racer Pole Position, but much simpler in design if not difficulty. Instead of having to qualify for a race that comprises several laps, you only have to surpass other vehicles and race the track for 2 laps. Upon finishing the second lap, you move on to the next course, and that's all there is to it. No ceremonies or anything like that, just race after race after race. Nothing wrong with that in the long run. You have 3 skill levels to choose from. Each skill level boasts 5 different tracks, but beyond that there's not much to F1-Race. It's a fairly simplistic racer that is straightforward and retains the classic thrills of exploding cars upon a collision. And if you played other racers of the time, such as the aforementioned Pole Position, then this should be second nature considering the gameplay is more or less the same. Just the goals are somewhat different. And this one's lacking advertisements, but that's besides the point. You have your usual controls, acceleration, brakes, low gear, higher gear. They all work fairly well and won't give you any major issues. They're pretty responsive for the most part, no complaints here. Graphic-wise, F1-Race looks fairly decent for a 1984 Famicom title. The karts look fairly decent, the fake scaling is tolerable in this game, and the landscapes, while barren, are nice to look at if nothing else. I did notice a bit of stuttering on the road, however, especially when racing on high speeds. I can't really explain it properly, other than at times it seems like smooth driving and the road tends to skip at times. It's something I've never had an issue with when playing Pole Position 2 on the 7800, when the road was always animated smoothly. Even the 2600 version of Pole Position and its undefinable fences had a smoother scrolling roll, for lack of a better term. It's not a big deal or anything, just an oddity I noticed. Chances are you won't really pay attention to it unless you pay attention to it. That sounded awful, but let's go with it. Sounds alright, I guess. It's not the greatest engine sound in the world, but all things considered, it's not terribly annoying or anything. The jingles that play are alright, fits the racing theme, and are brief. No real complaints there either. Overall, there's not much to say about F1-Race. It's a pretty straightforward, old-school racing game, and a decent one now that I think about it. It probably doesn't hold up too well to some later racers on the NES and beyond, but still, it has its moments. Like I said, if you're a fan of the pole position racing games or the like, then F1-Race is probably worth a look if you have a chance to import a Famicom along with a copy of this game, or get one of those multi-cart things, since this tends to lurk around in some of those. On the local front, I know there's an F1-Race release for the original Game Boy, but I haven't played that one, so I don't know how similar it is to this game. But I have played this game, and F1-Race on the Nintendo Family Computer is a pretty good game. Definitely worth checking out if you have a chance.